So to go through each of these points, so as you can see, the yield curve has seen a very sharp fall since the rate cut that took place on the 22nd of May. We've seen overall across the board, we've seen about 80 basis points to 100 basis points reduction in the yield curve. And this, as I mentioned, was mostly because of the fact that this rate cut was not anticipated by the market. And we believe that the central bank has taken this action after seeing the fact that inflation is much lower than they had anticipated, and they continued to reduce their inflation forecast going forward as well. And as they aim to really hit the 5% inflation target that has been laid out in terms of the inflation targeting framework by the central bank. We're also seeing that core inflation has been quite sluggish, indicative of relatively lower demand-driven inflation, or rather that the fact that administrative price reductions are the primary driver of inflation being quite low at this point, and you're not seeing that uptick happening as fast as I think they would be expecting it to happen. So as a result of that, they've also taken this action in terms of cutting rates at this monetary policy meeting. So what we see is that it's no secret. We've seen this cycle play out time and time again. As interest rates fall, fixed income investments become a lot less attractive. And as a result, money flows towards equities, which tends to perform better. And as you can see in this chart that we've laid out here, and we've shown this chart previously many times as well, where you see that in easing interest rate cycles where interest rates are falling, and we've represented it here in the blue line by the one-year treasury bill, what you see is that the ASPI or the equity returns tend to overperform, right? And they can tend to overperform quite significantly as well. So if you look at, for example, and this is one of the key cycles which we remember, is really between the mid-2019 to early 20 to just prior to the crisis, where we saw interest rates reducing very sharply, where there were several monetary policy rate cuts as well. And we saw equities seeing a very sharp increase and returns on the market being very, very strong. And this we have just taken the ASPI return, but if you take the total return index, is likely to be higher than this. And already we're seeing that with the interest rate reduction that has been taking place, equity markets have been performing a lot better. But it has been a bit volatile, and particularly driven by the fact that we've seen a bit more risk-centered more around sentiment. So for example, with the expectation of the elections that we saw the last year, we've seen a lot more risk being factored into the market, which was taken off as soon as the elections concluded. Then we've also seen more recently with Trump announcing the tariff hikes that as well impacted the equity market, and we saw a little bit of a downturn there as well. So it's been a little bit volatile, but right now what we're expecting is that with rates continuing to fall and fixed income investments becoming very, very unattractive for an investor who will at this point really look at their money, look at their portfolio and go, where am I going to get my best returns? Because parking it in a fixed deposit is not going to give me as much return after tax basis particularly. So what are the other investment options that I can look at, right? So for example, if you look at fixed deposit rates adjusted for taxes, and as you know, now withholding taxes have been increased to 10%. So that is automatically getting cut off as well. But if you take the, in terms of the tax brackets, say, assuming someone is getting taxed at about 36% on their interest income right now based on the personal income tax rates as well, what's interesting to see is that the after-tax return then becomes about only about 5.6%. And this is actually less than what they were earning at around 2021 as well, right? So over the last several years, this is the lowest after-tax return that someone would be getting into their hand by parking money in a fixed deposit. And what's interesting also is that we've noticed that banks have also cut, a few banks at least have cut their deposit rates post the policy rate cut that took place as well, right? So banks are under pressure to maintain their margins, and as a result of that, they will continue to reduce their deposit rates. And as a result of that, the earning that someone would get by parking their money in this instrument, and it is one of the largest investment groups in the country, is going to be a lot less attractive. So you will see a lot more people looking at alternative asset classes similar to what they did in 2020 and 2021, which is when we saw the very strong bull run that took place in the equity market. So this time around as well, This is a possibility where we see a lot more people looking at equities a little bit more deeply to understand what kind of returns that they could get from it. And also quite interesting to note is also that deposit growth has been quite slow, and naturally so, because the returns that you're getting are much lower right now compared to, for example, the 20% plus returns that you were getting in the last several years or last 2-3 years, right? So it is actually growing right now at a much slower pace than it has over the last 10 years as well. And this is again indicative of the fact that people are looking at alternative instruments instead of just parking their money in the deposit base at banks. So in terms of what will happen to interest rates, as I've said, we think interest rates will kind of continue to keep falling to some extent, maybe not by a lot, but there is still room for interest rates to remain lower, or the indications of interest rates going forward to remain more towards the downside, right? This is also supported by the fact that we're seeing very high levels of liquidity in the market, right? So even for this year as well, with net foreign inflows that we expect to come in, and a current account surplus that we're projecting of about 1.6 billion, we think that this will support market liquidity to remain positive, and as a result, you'll see a further easing of interest rates as well. So what's interesting here is also just the fact that the central bank earlier on this year was actually expecting a current account deficit. They had mentioned that they were projecting a marginal current account deficit in one of their early documents this year. But as of this latest monetary policy meeting, they're now talking about a 0.9% of GDP current account surplus, right? Approximately that's about a 1 billion surplus that they would be expecting there, right? So this is quite in line with our expectations as well. And as a result of that, we will see market liquidity supporting interest rates to come off. And as a result, this supporting the ASPI or the equity returns to be much stronger as well. So in terms of, apart from the current account surplus, because we know that the overall net FX inflows does not end there, it matters how much comes into the financial accounts as well. Some of the forecasts we're looking at include 1 to 2 IMF tranches that will come in this year. So we're expecting one to come in with the next board approval, which is expected to come at the end of June, which is about another $320 to $330 million. And post the next review, which is expected to be around September, assuming it takes place on the same timeline, we should be expecting the next tranche to come in this year as well. But if it is delayed, then we would see it early next year, right? In addition to that, we can expect some funding to start coming in from the ADB and World Bank, given the communications that they've laid out on it. And we've forecasted here about $500 million in terms of inflows. We're also hearing a lot more reports about FDI inflows being quite strong within the first quarter of this year. So all of these support the overall balance of payments, and as a result of that, enabling market liquidity to be positive.